Hello and welcome to So Farscape.
A fun-filled Farscape fancast by a fervent fan.
And a fresh-faced first-timer.
I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay. And this is the story So Farscape.
Oh, we're inching toward the end of the first season. We're already on episode 21 of 22.
21, yes. Bone to be Wild. Sorry, excuse me.
Yes, very good.
In which the crew of Moya, science jock John Crichton,
yes,
along with his companions, tentacle-faced Dargo, ear-browed Rigel.
Very good.
How shall I put it? Mercurial, grey-skinned
I like that.
Chiana. Wonderful Blue Zahn, whom we learn a few new things about this episode.
Yes, we do.
And, of course, Pilot and Moya themselves.
And you missed one.
Who did I miss?
The Radiant Aaron Sun.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to have to dock you some points. We did a thing earlier where at the end of episode 19, which was our first two-party, you made some predictions as to what would come in what would happen in the next episode. And we sort of forgot to resolve that.
Evaluate those, yes.
So I think I'm going to instate a point system.
Okay.
Let me see how well you did, because I have them actually written down.
I seem to be correct about the one that Aaron was going to be chomping at the bit about going back to rescue Crichton, so I definitely got that one right. And I can't remember what my other predictions were.
Aaron was indeed the one who was champing at the bit, but you specified housemates meeting. You specified that
correct.
She would try, that it would mirror the situation with John.
And that didn't happen.
She didn't do that at all. So I'm going to give you half points for that.
Okay.
Right? So 5 out of 10.
All right.
Rigel will be Rigel. Now, obviously, no points for that.
No,
that's
just
a fair guess.
That's just like saying Zahn's blue.
Yeah, Zahn standing around waiting for someone to have an emotional crisis. Also not really
She didn't do very much in that episode, if I remember.
Well, you're actually correct there. Yeah, that's going to be a solid 10 points. And Aaron will rescue John, another solid 10 points.
Yes.
So that's 25 in total. I'll have to adjust the little scoreboard. I will dock you a further 5 for forgetting Aaron this time around. It is your 21st episode.
That wasn't a prediction. Come on.
It wasn't a prediction, but this is
not QI. You don't get.
What do you mean? I'm going to have different scoring systems every time if you're not careful.
All right. Oh, fantastic. So that's going to be
no, but you're doing really well. Obviously, I'm really delighted that you're into it so well, because we do learn some new stuff about our brave adventurers whom we find in dire straits. We've with a bit more continuity than we're used to from the episodes so far.
Yes, I noticed that they seem to be working on getting a bit more of a consistent plot arc, at least temporarily work on it. And what I really liked about this episode is how they blend that together.
Yes.
How you have the A, B, and C plot arcs, I suppose, one of which doesn't even interact with the other two at all.
Now, you're speaking specifically about what happens on the asteroid that we're about to talk, back on Moya and her baby, and the C plot with the peacekeepers.
Yes, exactly.
Including Scorpius, whom we recently met. In fact, it's actually gotten to the point where the story So Farscape should actually include Captain Bailar Crace, disgraced Crace.
He is still mentioned in every opening crawl
as the insane military commander,
who is, judging by his hairstyle, still slowly coming apart at the edges.
Unraveling. He's just fraying like a jumper with a cat scratch in it. An apt metaphor in this household.
True.
I really did like those jumpers of yours.
Oh,
rest in peace. In some cases.
Yes, they. That's the problem with cat owners. You can always recognize them by the fact that they're covered in cat hair and that they've got little loops sticking out of their pants where the cats have been delicately kneading their way on their legs.
Making biscuits on your thigh.
That's the one. And so we open up with a gorgeous shot of Moya and her baby in a asteroid field.
Yeah. Now, okay, I know better, but for a very short second, even as the seasoned veteran of Farscape... Oh, wait, we haven't done the opening sort of music.
Prepare to starburst!
Okay, there it was.
Yes.
Yes. Well, almost missed it there. Prepare for Farscape. I sort of thought that we were back in the asteroid field where Namtar's base was stationed.
Right.
Because this is another Andrew Prowse directed episode. He also did...
He likes his asteroids, doesn't he?
DNA Mad Scientist.
Yeah.
Gosh, yes. Oh, I learned something about Andrew Prowse, that in addition to being the director of several episodes, he was also a supervising director who oversaw and helped sort of coordinate a lot of the post-production.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of the CGI was...
Influenced by him.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
So, gorgeous shot.
It's beautiful. It's all shot in blue. And asteroid field being far denser than any asteroid field in actual space has the right to be. But, that's just cinematic.
Yes, no, exactly. If you demonstrated actual distances in space, no one would be able to see anything.
It would
certainly not in the pre-HD era.
True. And people on board are also a little bit blue-lit because apparently they're freezing their mivonks off.
Yes, everyone is chilled to the bone and wrapped in blankets because they're
in low power mode, I suppose.
Yeah.
They're hiding from peacekeeper scans, which apparently the command carrier, Krasis command carrier, is undertaking, trying to hunt them down after they made their escape in the previous episode.
Yes, they escaped the Gamak base without the ability to starburst to safety because the baby can't starburst and can't move very fast either. So apparently after escaping, they took shelter in this asteroid field, which had been probably deduced as the only place where they could be hiding.
Yeah. And I love how everybody's sitting there slightly bitching until eventually Zahn breezes just past in the background, just like her light, airy lobes fluttering behind her while she is just apparently completely comfortable because apparently her species regulates their body temperature very well in most environments.
Chiana asks, why aren't you freezing your lady mivonks off? Yeah. And, well, no, my body temperature is just fine. I imagine that this scene caused some consternation and perhaps a little stress between this crew of actors.
Yeah.
Because this scene was filmed in, I think that Anthony Simcoe on the commentary track said it was December in Australia.
Oh dear! So that's right in the middle of the hot season.
It was crazy hot, and they all had to swaddle in blankets. And Zahn got to just just breeze past in a nice light dress.
I didn't even see John for a while until he showed up still in his peacekeeper outfit, but now with some sort of cowl over his head.
He's got the baldric.
The baldric cap,
yes. The leather sort of flight helmet from the other PK commando.
Yes, almost like Scorpius's little headdress, who also seems to favor the skull cap and the electrodes on the side.
Yeah.
And as they are hiding from the peacekeepers, they receive a distress call from one of the nearby asteroids.
They break out into a little chuckle.
Distress call directed at us. How stupid is that?
What appears to be a lady in distress who's being attacked by a monster, and she's got her well-lit hair curlers in, or at least that's what it looked like at first.
Yes.
She's getting her hair did.
She made quite an impression because, she talks about how her and her family were stranded there, and she's the only survivor, and there's a creature before she's suddenly attacked, and the transmission cuts out.
Please help us. Please come quickly as soon as you can. There's a creature.
And they have to make their decision. What are we going to do?
Well, the decision is not based on altruism, but out of necessity themselves. They can't make it out of the asteroid field undetected without the aid of some charts.
Yes.
You have star charts.
And maybe this family might have some navigational charts that they don't.
Yes, so they decide to...
Finally getting serious about getting those charts. I'm very proud of them. Only took them 21 episodes.
Well, they have rejected several charts over the past because they were written on bark fibers or something else. And
My Home Planet's not on there.
I think that was still pretty good in that John Crichton episode.
Jeremiah
Crichton, where she asks him where his home planet is, and he points at the map, and then he picks up a rock and chucks it in the lake. It's somewhere over there.
Somewhere over there, through the sinkhole of space. It's...
So, after the opening credits, we have a somewhat grumpy Captain Krace. Commander Krace. What's his rank?
Captain Krace.
Captain Krace.
Captain Krace.
Yes, Lieutenant.
Captain Krace.
He's addressed as captain. He's in his boudoir. In his office.
It's the same room, actually. You can see the whole throne we see later is off on the side.
That's
so
right.
So it's the same. It's the same room. But he is looking at star charts. Apparently, he's they've got those nice transparencies again, which you see quite often.
I sort of imagine that he's doing a sort of Rorschach test, going tiger, birdie,
Klingon bird of prey.
Facing David Franklin, an actor that I also remember from The Matrix, although the order is different. In The Matrix, I recognized him from here. He's the maître d' in the Merovingian's cafe or restaurant.
And shortly after, Scorpius shows up, who is apparently also on the command carrier.
Yes, just casually wanders in and, like, he has a suggestion, countering Krace's command to move the command carrier, thereby, well, risking its safety quite a bit because it wants to get closer to the asteroid field and continue scanning.
Scorpius suggests an alternate course of action in which they want to flood the asteroid field with a bunch of signals to make the baby panic and hopefully reveal its location.
And Scorpius is doing his thing again where he's looking for the pressure points. Like his comment is, well, an angle that you may not have considered is,
do you think a mother would abandon her child?
We should be targeting the baby and make it panic.
And Krace, although you can tell that he probably realizes that this is a good idea, is just stubborn and petulant and flat out refuses to engage in this.
My orders stand.
And very quiet. Did you notice through, like, this is the first of 4 scenes that we get with Krace. Each time he is seated, someone walks in, but each time his authority is degraded and questioned more. And he takes it all with incredible quietude.
Yes, his previous bluster and angry outbursts have almost gone completely, and he is just like quietly crashing in on himself, I suppose. That's
right.
He looks like he's having a bit of a breakdown, I would say.
He did spend some time in the Aurora chair recently.
Very true.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to have affected John so much.
Trauma is often hard to detect in people who've suffered through it. And, like, there is some of his bluster, John, like his cackling at the irony of a distress signal being directed at them. That sort of reminds me of his manic laughter as they were fighting through the peacekeepers on the Gamak base.
Yes. Meanwhile, back on Moya, the Scuttlebots are having a little huddle. I guess they're having a dice game or something that they...
I sort of imagine that it's those 2 scuttlebots from, they've got a secret, who looked so guilty when John and Aaron caught them, and now they've got a third friend, so they're up to something.
Yeah, they're just having a little get together, a little. I mean, I'm almost expecting to see some dice rolling around, and maybe they're playing cards or something like that, and they're just like having a wee break. And,
oh shit, the camera's on us! Quick, hide the stash. Oh, no, okay, now I want a spin-off animated series about these miscreant scuttlebots, sort of like the penguins in Madagascar.
I was going to say more like a Lower Decks version of Farscape.
Yeah. Oh, okay, well... I was about to say we should have a segment where we start to sort of hypothesize what the DRDs were doing, but we have plenty of segments. We don't need them all. As you once pointed out, we have segments at home.
Pilot asks Aaron to stay on board and not join the mission towards the asteroid.
1, 2, 3, 4 to beam down, pilot.
Officer Sun, I would appreciate if you would stay aboard.
All right, pilot.
He gives no reason,
no,
and she doesn't ask for one.
No.
She immediately accepts it. She says, yep, all right.
Yeah, Pilot he almost seems reluctant to do so, but but there's a little bit of intensity in his voice, I would say, that it makes Aaron immediately acquiesce to his request. And,
because they've reached a sort of a level of trust between them where, like, for him to ask is enough reason for her to stay.
They're related now, so...
Yes, by DNA, true.
Which is going to, I think, it's not specifically going to come up later on in the episode, but I did feel like that a lot.
Oh, Okay, I'm so excited to share this with you. Okay, so A-plot takes place in a lovely national park in the north of Sydney. Where
I was wondering if it was shot in a studio or not, but...
They would be lucky to be able to fill a studio with quite this many plants. Although, like, I do get it. You have... sometimes it is more convenient to cart a bunch of trees into a studio.
I was going to say, it's like half of Star Trek was shot on sets like that.
Right.
They're wandering around the planet, and Zahn is having a whale of a time.
Oh,
she's loving it. She's
marveling.
She's loving the sunlight. She's loving all the plants. Crichton and Dargo, on the other hand, are not in such good straits.
No.
This is the most miserable place I think I have ever been.
Where you see misery, Dargo, I find the end of misery.
Well, to put things in perspective, Zan, you are the least thing on this asteroid that I am allergic to. The big guy's got a point. My rashes have got rashes.
I assure you the cure for all those ailments and much more is also here.
Dargo turns out to have allergies and
quite a few, yeah.
and gives a whole operetta, a series of sonnets about what's happening to the various mucuses in his sinuses.
Yes.
Darga, no. Stop it with the Luxon poetry.
Zahn, however, is delighted by the abundance of plants, which apparently are all medicinal, or at least very useful and
miraculous.
Yes.
And she's never seen a place like this. She calls it like the goddess's pharmacognosia, if I'm recalling that correctly.
That
which
sounds roughly right. No, I didn't get. I heard the word, but I couldn't parse it either.
This magnificent place is the goddess's pharmacognosia.
And I'm just here sitting there thinking, an asteroid with an atmosphere?
Yeah.
That's rather peculiar.
So
Doesn't come up at all. It's just we just have this asteroid in the middle of this bleak asteroid field where apparently there's not that much sunlight because we didn't see that in the shots of Moya, but apparently there's lots of sun coming in here.
yes. So what I think we owe it to our listeners who tune in for our fun banter and to rediscover Farscape to pause the podcast here and have like a 35-minute tangent about the physics of how this works. So here's my theory.
Yes.
My theory is geothermal. That's how there's heat, deep internal pockets of frozen oxygen, nitrogen that are slowly leaking out through small fountains and result in a haze of atmosphere.
Atmosphere is constantly outgassing. And
is the outgassing of a still hot, perhaps fragment of a planetoid.
also gravity? Also not renowned to be very high on asteroids, but...
Okay. No, you're fine. This is why I said I gave us 35 minutes. Anybody can just fast forward 35 minutes, literally. Pockets of neutronium.
Neutronium being
the
super dense material.
Precisely the hypothetical substance that consists only of neutrons that are touching one another.
I'll just go with it's a space sci-fi show, and some of these things are going to be a little bit hand-woven.
Let's do. Is there such a thing like gravity lensing? No, not lensing of gravity.
Okay, let me put it like this. I mean, if there is enough gravity on this planet to approach 1G, which it seems to be, then the asteroid field would be drawn into it, and we would have this big asteroid with its gravitational field would be bombarded by all the other smaller asteroids.
Ooh. Unless they're all ferrous and similarly charged.
No.
That was nonsense what I just said, isn't it?
You don't have monopole asteroids.
You don't. We have monopoles at home.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so... Wow, 35 minutes went fast.
Yeah, damn.
Well, time flies when you're having fun. Not so much fun is being had by this creature from the distress signal who
flings herself at John.
Begging for help.
Her blue glowy lights in the head are now red, apparently showing distress or something.
Yes, and flashing red. Oh, that's such a cool design.
She immediately clings to him and starts pleading that her family and her friends have all been eaten. And
they're in danger.
All
and
41 of them. And where are you from? And oh no. There's a brief view of the creature, I believe. Gets shot at by John. Creature disappears.
Chased off.
Yeah. And she urges them to immediately return back to the transporter.
Is it safe? Because everybody's they ask her for, important first things first, do you have any charts? What? No, I don't have charts. They were all destroyed. Okay, fine, then we're getting out of here. That's their plan.
We don't need that. We're gone. Yeah.
Back to the transport. They do, assume to take her.
Zahn complains a little bit because she wanted to go harvesting more, I think.
Yeah. Crichton goes, no, we have medicinal plants at home.
However, back in the transporter, the critter is already there.
There's some healthy-sounding sinuses.
Growling, he's this huge hulking. Yeah, what do you say? He's furry. He's covered in moss.
Bark and moss, and lots of shrooms growing on him.
Disfigured face with a second mouth.
Yeah, he's kind of like Two-Faced almost.
Yeah,
the mouth on the side. That must have been a makeup hell.
Yeah, Martin, an actor that I know from... Oh, he was the villain / love interest in Aeon Flux. He is a gorgeous man. Mm-hmm. I had no idea it was him, and he is wrapped in this horrendous makeup.
Yes.
I hope he had fun. I can imagine he doesn't. I know that Anthony Simcoe, who plays Dargo, and Wayne Pygram, who play Scorpius, they said it was so much fun to get to play an alien on set, but it was like the hardest part of doing that is not so much the 3 hours of makeup or the heat in Australia. It's that everybody always thinks that you're grumpy because you're wearing grumpy makeup. And so you can be sitting around in your boxers just reading a newspaper, happy as a clam.
Resting grump face.
Good resting grump face. And then everybody goes, oh, are you okay? Are you okay? Yes, I'm wonderful. So they really had to go out of their way to be stupid so that people would understand how much fun they were having.
Oh, wow. That's, it had never occurred to me that could be the case.
Right? If your makeup just makes you look angry and scowly all the time, then you just... Are you okay, Mr. Simcoe? Is everything okay?
Everybody assumes that you're having a miserable old time, yeah.
Quite the opposite of what's happening with this young woman.
I am Emily.
How do you mean?
I mean, she is delightful and fearful, and everyone desires to protect her.
Yes, I wouldn't call it delightful, but she's immediately goes a little bit on the damsel in distress thing.
Yeah,
and she lays
that's
it
where
on,
I was going for.
Yeah,
yes,
she lays it on really thick too.
I thought, I've got to say, pretty convincing. I mean, yes, it is very thick, but I could see her like it came from a place of genuine fear, just like. When you're in panic mode, replaying the same emotion over and over again in your mind and just saying the same shit again because you just have no other thoughts. Like, I could kind of get that.
There's a bit of a fight. Dargo gets smacked around quite hard.
Yes.
Him and Crichton do a little bit of shooting inside the transporter pod, damaging some of the equipment.
Critical systems are damaged now they're grounded.
They have to be repaired. And furthermore, Dargo is quite seriously injured.
Yes, as he mentioned through what sounds like a mouthful of licorice.
You okay? I've broken Tarok. Probably internal bleeding, but
Yes, definitely internal bleeding. And he mentions a few more body parts, or at least organs, which he thinks that are broken or damaged.
Continuing the tradition of our Farscape heroes, when they go somewhere in search of something they need, they wind up losing even more.
Oh, yes. That is a bit of a recurring trend, isn't it?
Yeah, they're always worse off. As is Moya, who we see her floating around in the asteroid field with her baby
beside her.
It is little. It's
beautiful
like a little
shot. Yeah,
it's like a little tadpole.
Yeah, I think it's about the size of a transport, although we've never really seen transporters that close to Moya, so we can't quite tell.
It's probably a little bit bigger, but not by much, not nearly as much as Moya.
Aaron goes to visit Pilot in his den.
I like that they get a face-to-face. That's always
nice. They do, yes. And Pilot explains to her that even despite that the kid's only been born yesterday, he's already being a teenager. And refusing to communicate with Mom.
And he's very confused. Even though he's just born, he already understands that he's different. And that's why Moya and Pilot, in particular, Pilot is giving voice to Moya's desires.
Yeah, at least we're hypothesizing that. It just could be that Pilot's making it up as he's going along, and he's just like pretending to give Moya agency when it's really just him in control.
Oh no! Yes, okay. Like a pretend authority figure. Like you better behave, or I'll tell your father when he comes home.
Exactly.
That doesn't care. That doesn't care. Okay, so is this a hypothesis that you're laying some money down on?
No, it's just a little fun theory to throw out there. And Pilot asks if Aaron can go over to the baby to try and communicate with him.
Yeah.
Because he thinks that Aaron will be able to calm him down, or at least talk some reason into
and to help Moya understand her son.
Yes.
You, better than any of us, might understand what's been done to him. If Moya were told, perhaps she could solidify his trust in her and us.
Her being a peacekeeper and a warrior, which apparently the kid is as well, because it's an armed Leviathan.
That's Moya's child?
Yes.
But it's covered in weapons.
Yes.
Because
he has a sonic ascendancy cannon.
The peacekeepers changed its DNA.
So this scene, I thought was... I like any scene with Pilot in it.
Yeah.
But scenes between Pilot and Aaron, her reactions to him are so nuanced and attentive and generous. Like, as an actor, her performance is extraordinary, and she treats him as more real than any of the other actors that she usually interacts with. Like, she has this serene humor. I mean, in her character as well.
Right. It feels a bit like, kinship, I suppose.
Yeah.
That she feels related to Pilot now, since they, in the DNA Mad Scientist, she got some Pilot DNA in her. So I guess she feels
surprised.
it like that, and if she experiences that directly, I don't know, but it definitely shows in how she acts towards Pilot. I would say,
and she feels nothing for him but affection. There's no mistrust between them.
No,
I mean there have been slight antagonisms with the other characters, so she's always slightly on edge. But he's the only one with whom she's just lowered all her barriers, more than for anyone else.
And we get to see command of the new little Leviathan.
Yeah, what a shot!
It's all done in Peacekeeper red, and it's still got a bit of the curving structures that you always see on Moya, but
the biomechanical ribbing,
right? But all the mechanical part is much more Peacekeeper oriented,
angular. There's all these hard surfaces,
these touch screens poking up out of consoles, still blended in very well with the rest of the surrounding, but a very stark contrast to the controls that you see on Moya's control.
Yeah. Now, I thought it was great because, I mean, this design job must have also been tricky because it doesn't look, how shall I put this? It doesn't look like the technology is imposed on the biological part. Do you know what I mean? It could sort of look like it was grafted on, and it doesn't. It feels like this grew, and like this is just how this Leviathan's body should be.
Yes, no, absolutely. But it's still, it's still obvious that it's not the way that another Leviathan is. It's new. It's completely, well, it's been re-DNA'd, but it's still, this is the baby.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to say we're going to have to find a name for the baby, but it's going to come up, I think. I mean...
Oh... Are you doing it?
At the end of the episode, Erin is invited to name the baby.
Okay, so that'll come up in your... that'll be one of your predictions. Awesome. Yeah. Very good.
Oh, I'm not going to predict what she's going to call it. I have no idea.
No. I know. But
for now, I'm going to go with Boya.
You fucking ruined it. You piece of shit. Okay, you absolute garbage person. You fucking genius.
Right. Now we take a 5-minute intermission while Kaki tries to catch his breath.
I'm fine. Just don't say it again.
Oh, I'm definitely going to say it a few more times during this episode.
Let me see if I can do it. Boya.
Yeah.
There you go. I can do it.
It's
no,
fine.
we're good to go. Wow.
But yeah, she wanders across the deck. There's a few lights which almost friendly beep or burp at her.
Yes, because she needs more light, and she feels attracted to a control panel where there's one light glowing.
Right, it's the typical like one glowing button in the dark, and she wanders over there and pushes it, and the systems come online. More light appears. The place lights up a bit, and we get to see more of how the bridge is designed.
How did you manage to find it so quickly?
I think I was supposed to.
So what do you think is happening here? Why did that button light up? There's the possibility that Boya...
Yes.
I'm sorry. that Boya is specifically accommodating her, but also I'm a UX designer by trade, so if you're in a dark room, probably
the light switch is going to be lit.
Should be lit so that you can find it. So then that would make sense as an interface.
No, I was feeling similar things. Like throughout the scenes of Erin on the command of Boya, she is constantly getting drawn to things. She almost intuitively feels her way around the command, and she finds the controls, the communication panel, which she almost immediately finds. So she just looks around and goes, "That's the communication panel," and that's, I think, is because of her pilot genes, and they seem to have a natural connection to the Leviathans,
coupled with her training as a peacekeeper.
However, this is the first time someone walks onto the command of a new Leviathan, and I would assume that there is something basically built or programmed into Leviathans to, like it's the start button,
Yeah.
You have to
Yes, no, you're right. You're right. To at least to activate the sort of life support human interface kind of system.
Exactly, and that's when your UI design comes into play. I mean, for someone who doesn't have that natural connection and feel, it should be blazingly obvious where you're supposed to go.
Yeah. Oh, that is very good. See, I mean, I often get stuck on the fact of Moya, Leviathans in general, being living beings, being living spaceships, but I sort of miss out on the spaceship part, because Moya barely has anything mechanical really that you see in the areas where our people walk. Like everything you can imagine, the doors were like installed later, maybe.
You'd think so, yeah.
And you almost don't think about that being part of Moya herself.
Right.
You see it from the outside.
And the command controls are fondle slabs.
Right. Well, actually, okay. So I previously expressed the hypothesis that those consoles on the command were installed by the Peacekeepers, but I don't think that's the case because they look very similar, or Boya's consoles look very similar to that, so they must have grown there as well. But there is more of an interface, which is there is one big light in the middle that glows and boops, and like you said, Erin is attracted to that.
She wanders over, she crouches down next to it and
crouches down,
starts talking to Boya.
Hello?
Hello.
Yep. And it kind of turns into a little bit of a game of Simon with the different lights on the ground flashing up and more beeping and booping, which is, it sounds a bit like burping even, I'd say.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Like on Moya, everything sounds like gurgling, and maybe he's inherited his mother's IBS.
I mean, little kids often have a little bit things to getting to get their digestive system going. It's always a bit of an issue with babies. But she manages to get Boya to shut down his communications or his signature output.
Yeah, the pilot is impressed how she would find it so quickly. But yeah, it's that combination of her pilot DNA intuition and her training as a peacekeeper. Like these interfaces would have been designed for peacekeepers to be familiar with.
And it's an interesting thing that happens here because there's a cut from the scene on Boya to back to the command carrier.
Yeah,
and it's really interesting to see how the lighting scheme. It's not the same, but it's very similar.
Yes, it's the materials as well,
reds and whites and blacks, and it very much Peacekeeper inspired how Boya is designed.
I think you're right. Like even the portal or the entranceway to the command, it has this metallic, almost like sort of a Stargate around it with these tiles on it.
Yeah.
The tiles which are also around the door of Crace's boudoir.
The lights on the ground, they kind of look a little bit like the red. You've got that big red triangle which you also see in the Peacekeeper symbol. It's not the same, but it's very similar.
It's so great. I really love that they spend a whole scene just look at this. This is...
just a little meet the baby.
Yeah.
Crace is having another little head-to-head with Scorpius, who is sitting on Crace's throne, or whatever it is.
What are you doing here?
Admiring your quarters, Captain. Quite opulent. Even by Captain standards.
He's lounging in Crace's boudoir, having made himself at home, sort of, and remarks on not understanding how some warriors choose to mythologize their conquests.
Yes, by keeping trophies around.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what kind of trophy he's sitting under, but he's sitting under what?
I don't know.
He touches something.
Yeah.
There's all these pedestals with, what are they? Heads? Are they?
He did mention something about things decaying.
Yeah, with this decaying flesh. This is one part where I sort of wish we had an HD transfer of those.
I wasn't sure if it was like he's talking about flesh or if he's just talking about decaying glory or just decaying items or anything like that.
Very good. Yes.
I can't think that Crace would be the kind of person who would keep someone's head in his office, but we also learned something interesting here, because Crace says that Scorpius's branch of the service affords him certain privileges.
Your branch of the service gives you special privileges, Scorpius, which does not include disrespect of rank.
Yes.
So that's my prediction of Scorpius having hired the Peacekeepers to work on his project or do security for his project out the window.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you didn't put any stakes on that one, but no, I thought it was a very good thought. From what we'd seen on the Gammak base, it made entire sense that it would be Scorpius's Gammak base and he hired Peacekeepers to operate it, but it turns out it's even deeper than that.
Yes.
The Peacekeepers have whatever Scorpius is in their ranks.
He must be some sort of researcher or some sort of secret project. It could be the Manhattan Project of the Peacekeepers or something like that, trying to work out wormholes.
Yeah, new technologies, certainly.
I guess that's what it's going to be.
Now, this scene is the revelation about Zan that you talked about. Because we're back in the transport pod. Dargo is being tended to by Zan, who's trying to encourage him to eat these medicinal herbs to help with his internal bleeding.
Just swallow it.
If you want to kill me, why don't you just shoot me?
how herbs help with internal bleeding. I do not know.
No, I was wondering about that as well. But a hair curler lady, it was apparently called Emily or something like that.
Emily.
She's walking around. Apparently she's got a very sensitive nose because you can see her literally sniffing Zahn, and she goes like, "Oh, you smell different. You smell like outside."
So at first she's sort of sniffing Crichton's leather armpits.
Yes.
I thought, oh, kinky, but whatever you're into.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Emily is played by Francesca Buller, who is Ben Browder's wife.
Oh.
Yeah,
Wow.
She saw that her husband was having fun. She went to the auditions and she was
cool.
picked.
Yeah,
and she notices that Zahn is different.
Zahn goes like, "Well, yes, of course."
Your olfactory senses are very good. I am also flora.
Apparently, Delvians are plant-based.
They're flora evolved.
They're flora evolved, and which Dargo, everybody knows that Delvians are flora evolved, while he is writhing in agony from his internal bleeding.
He's not quite so down for the count that he can't give a snide comment to his friends.
A little put down towards John, who seems to be rather taken aback by the whole prospect.
Say what?
Didn't you know?
No what? You're a plant?
Always have been, John. Why does it bother you?
No, it doesn't bother me. I just never suspected.
It's been a while since we've had him marveling at some space weirdness.
I wouldn't call it marveling. He seems almost upset by it, I would say.
At first, like he does this sort of double take, like you're a plant. You're a plant? You're a vegetable? Yes. And I like that Zahn takes it in good stride. So they need to go outside anyway to fetch some more herbs for Dargo. So they all go together, Emily and John and Zahn takes the time to satisfy John's curiosity. And I really like that the yellow highlights on her skin are stomata for the wicking of water, and she has fibers instead of bones.
And now he goes like, "Oh, now it explains why you like the sunlight so much. It's photosynthesis."
Yes.
It's called a photogasm.
I'll get a mop and bucket.
Like, being the good adventurers they are, they immediately split the party. Zahn goes off to go plant collecting. Emily runs off to, I don't know, do her thing, leaving John kind of like, okay, who am I going to stay with?
Because they heard the noise from the creature, and Emily darted off in.
And she warns them because she can smell it, apparently.
Yeah, oh, yes, very good. Her excellent olfactory senses. Zahn assures John that he should go and fetch Emily. She's almost done here. And it's a bit of a horror trope. Left behind, Zahn is stalked by this creature, and she conceals herself.
Yes, she has a cloaking device.
Yeah, she just sort of stands very still, holds her breath,
There's a little
and
shimmer.
turns invisible.
Yes, although that apparently does not save her because she is jumped by the creature.
Yeah, we now get a nice good close-up on him. He's got tendrils growing over his face, multiple types of mushrooms growing out of his head.
1.5 mouth.
Yes, that part is so weird. He's got either an extra mouth on the side or his mouth is really extended to the side.
Yes, it's kind of like almost like he's going through, what do you call it, mitosis? No, fission? Yes, fission.
No, mitosis. That's what you're, like a cellular division.
Right. Or that he's going to try and become president of the galaxy.
Zaphod Beeblebrock from yes.
With his extra head.
The galaxy. Oh, deep cut. Very good. We've seen her use like a shroud to protect herself before from the Vocarian blood trackers.
Yes.
But yes. Since then she's leveled up. She's
that's
level
right.
10 now.
Yeah, she became a bigger priest.
I am now a Pa'u of the 10th level, able to protect.
Yeah, she's gained an extra point of proficiency, and now her shroud is also able to conceal her visually.
Yes, she gained a new feat when she leveled up.
She's caught. John returns back to the transport pod, hoping that either Emily or Zahn have returned.
Yes, Emily has returned and explains to him that the creature must feed, but he won't have killed Zahn yet because he has to take her to the feeding place.
Yes,
and she knows where it is.
And so tell me. No, you can't. But I can't tell you. You just have to know.
Which is, a bit peculiar, but apparently you have to smell it out or something.
Dargo is concerned with Zahn, says that I am much better off than she is.
So, yes, I'll stay here, you go and hope and rescue Zahn from the creature.
Very brave of Dargo, but
yes.
He likes choices where he has to sacrifice himself.
I guess so, yes. It's like he's an eager, sacrificial person. Emily and John go to find the feeding place, which is apparently quite gruesome because there's like something
there.
Yeah,
there are piles of like rotting meat.
It must smell horrible.
John is asking about the girl's family. She's kind of out of it at this point. She's very quiet, and she says that. I mean, I noticed that she says that this is
where the eating is done.
Yes. Very passive. And John is completely unaware of what's going on behind her as her blue hair turns, or her blue head pots turn red again. The little stingers, which I noticed immediately on the first time we got a good close-up of her, start extending. Her bone hair starts growing out. The crest on her back rises up.
Yeah, she has this whole physical transformation because, I mean, we haven't even really talked about what a fantastic alien creature design we have here. Again, it's not just someone with a forehead and some spandex and
there's a lot of forehead going on here, but yeah, there's much more body shots of her where spine's kind of like spraying up out of her scale plates or whatever they are.
Her teeth narrow to points, like she just transforms and attacks John.
Yes, and I'm not quite sure what happens there, but
I guess they are come upon by the creature.
Yes,
who John at first shoots at, ignoring the transformation of Emily. The gun is pushed out of his hand by the creature, and the creature chases Emily off before telling John to stop.
I am not your enemy.
He can barely speak. It's his growly voice, and he's like laboured breaths.
Martin Xokas is such a lovely actor. He's such a wonderful performer, and then he chooses this like I don't know, like a homeless farmer having a stroke. I'm sorry, I've just offended like 3 different types of people. I don't mean to be rude to people experiencing homelessness or agricultural experts or people suffering medical conditions, but gosh, I just can't describe it any other way.
He does look a bit like a vagrant who has been growing mushrooms under the bridge for too long.
Yes. After another scene with Scorpy and Crace, I think this is number 3.
Yes, where Scorpius has now moved on to the point where he's directly giving orders to the crew.
Still being very subtle about it. Yes, your crew appreciated my suggestion.
Yes, and Crace ordering him to undo his orders rather than go to the bridge himself. I noticed that, Crace is always in his quarters. You never see him out somewhere else on the ship. He's completely withdrawn there, and he's just giving orders through his command staff. And despite the fact that Scorpius is very clearly undermining his authority at this point.
Yeah. I wonder, like, I would actually, even more than the Penguin DRDs, I would like to see more of what's going on with Crace. Like, how has he been processing the trauma of his torture?
Right. I mean, he wasn't particularly sane to start with, and like getting tortured like that would have probably not improved his condition.
Yeah, but it's such a bold, dramatic choice that his response to this trauma is not to become like even more audacious than he was before, but instead to withdraw like this.
It's an interesting transformation of his character.
Speaking of transformations, like our expectations of the creature are quite different. We now spend a weekend at Br'Nee's.
Yes. I was going to go with Br'Nee or Brutey or something like that. Yeah.
Yes. So you've got Emily and Br'Nee.
Yes, I noticed that Br'Nee, but that's like in a different short film.
That's Pixar. Yes, I'm picking your stuff up quite slowly today, I've noticed. Please stick with me. I'm doing my best.
Where Zahn is happy as a bug in a rug as they are walking around the lab, which is apparently Br'Nee's secret base or whatever it is.
Pad, his medicinal dispensary.
Who turns out to be a botanist who is working on this planet to harvest all the beautiful plants that they have here.
A pharmacobotanist, and he is... I mean, Zahn is in awe of his collection.
Yeah.
Did he strike you as a weed dealer?
Yeah, she said you were the monster.
Yes, my parents believe so too, but it was just a phase all children go through.
Well, I mean, the mushrooms were a bit of a giveaway. But,
right? I mean, just like, it's a head shop, right?
Totally. It is totally a head shop.
He's talking about, the medicinal purpose and we can cure this. No, you're here for the good shit.
And he has been like indulging in his own produce quite a little.
That's why you're slurring like that.
Well, apparently it's due to the thin atmosphere, which, I mean, makes sense if you're on an asteroid, as we talked about for 35 minutes earlier on.
Yep. I'm glad that we resolved that. I mean,
yes.
NASA would be proud of us.
They should hire us to do their missions.
But you already have a job, and that is to write the future episodes of Farscape when this is completely rebooted.
Okay, I'll be glad to serve on the writing team for a Farscape reboot.
We learned that Br'Nee was from a research team.
Oh yes,
and that his ancestors seeded this asteroid with these plants.
And that the research team which has come here, which apparently included his family as well, has been killed off by Emily, who is now turned out to be the monster. Or
so
at least,
it's sort of like Aliens reversed when it turns out that Newt is the dangerous one.
Well, it's a bit of a he said she said thing at this point now. They're both have been clearly threatening and clearly helpful at certain points, and there's quite some animosity between the two, and it's obvious that they're trying to turn it around a bit, but they're also keeping a little bit of the mystery in, is like, who is the actual bad person here?
Yes, everybody's trust level is sort of dipping and raising again because Zhaan is just besotted with Br'Nee.
Yeah, she trusts him implicitly. She marvels at the unshrink device that he displays to her, unshrinking some plant, which she immediately is invited to pick as many fruit from that as she needs.
Because that was the medicine that Zhaan was still looking for.
I thought you wanted broker seeds to arrest the infection.
I can't find any, unless I'm looking in the wrong place.
You are.
Let me show you.
And
let me do it correctly. Yes, you are. Let me show you.
Yeah, the Australian accent was very thick underneath the slurring.
I think that's mean to Australians, but yes, he has a shrink ray and an unshrink ray, and now they have plenty to help Dargo with, whom they want to go and help. A deal is struck whereby Br'Nee is quite willing to help them leave this place if they'll take him along and his samples,
because he has star charts, asteroid charts, because like asteroid charts aren't obsolete the moment you've printed them.
Time for another 35-minute digression about what do we think they are. So what would be useful? Like maybe chart has a different definition. Maybe it's a gravitational model.
Yeah, it might just be a complete mapping of all things. But I mean, that's not even a 3-body problem. That's a 10,000 body problem, which would immediately lead to
maybe maybe there is space math that can actually handle that. If you have certain types of information, yes. If you have almost like cryptography. Right? Yes. Problems that are impossible to solve unless you have this one key number that can help you, then everything falls into place.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they have.
And they hope to use them to sneak out of the asteroid field under the noses of the Peacekeeper command carrier.
Zhaan and Br'Nee go to help Dargo.
Yeah, and I didn't quite catch why they split the party here again.
Well, Br'Nee insisted that John stays behind with his weapon to chase off Emily and protect the samples.
Okay, because apparently why would Emily want to destroy the samples? But,
I don't know.
No.
I don't know. Well, we find out a motivation shortly.
Emily does indeed show up.
And has been here all along, as she tells John. I've heard everything that he's said about me, and you need to know the truth.
Yes.
John is properly skeptical and suspicious, holds her at gunpoint.
Restrained that he doesn't immediately shoot her, but,
She's showing restraint as well.
Yes, very true, despite being in quite... distress. She explains that. Do they explain what she's eating? That she's the one who's eating the bones?
Yes, that has been exposed at this point, yes.
John, Emily's a calcivore. She's a feeder of bone.
So she was going to eat me?
Yes, just your skeleton. The flesh is left to rot.
Hence the decaying meat at the eating place.
But she explains that her ancestors have been dropped on this planetoid by Br'Nee's ancestors in order to destroy all animal life. So it would be a better place for the plants to grow, and that they have slowly been growing hungry and dying and resorting to cannibalism. She is the last one left.
Nightmare.
Yeah, so we learn a little bit more about Br'Nee, not being quite so pure of heart and motivation.
Benevolent? Was that what you were going to say?
No, I wasn't going to say, but we're going to stick with it. Aaron finally powers up Boya's weapon.
Ah, yes, the sonic ascendancy cannon.
There's a little bit of technical blah blah technobabble.
Deionization charge complete. Direct composite capability enabled. Vaporization charge imminent.
Oh, it's sort of like she did with pilot Boppet back in 117 through the looking glass when John gave her all those instructions, and it's just like, no, I already know that. Turn the left dial, the green crystal.
Rotate blue crystal, trim yellow disc, extinguish orange light, open copper rods, black panel pressed halfway, dial tri-connector open, hot progression, purple, green, orange, gold, lights, green knob.
Maximum thrust.
It's going to be harder to doubt you in the future.
Well, I apologize for my strengths.
Like, she just knows all these
Although
procedures.
this is more technical, though. This sounds more mechanical that they're talking about rather than...
vent the ion wash and then charge this and then degauss that and then now we're ready to power up.
And she pulls 4 levers on the controls and, yes, we see the big gun on top of Boya slowly glowing up in red and coming online, I can only presume.
Now Rigel is suddenly interested. For some reason, Rigel and Chiana are in pilots den, maybe huddled together for warmth. Erin makes the comment that she feels at home there, and Rigel says,
"We couldn't be happier. Honestly, you deserve a home where you're wanted."
Although he immediately starts inquiring if Boya is fast and if it could be used to escape.
Moya has been, for as long as I can remember, our protector, our home, our companion, and our friend.
Amen.
However, as relationships grow, they also change. Do you think we can trade her for a faster vessel?
Yes, they're trying to sort of be subtle about that.
Is he fast?
Rigel is not being subtle about it.
Faster than his mother.
Hey, for Rigel standards?
Okay, that's true. You can see that he is just already planning on how he could make his escape with Boya and get back to the Hynerian homeworld or wherever he wants to go.
Returning back to his home planet to challenge his cousin Bishan with a sonic ascendancy cannon might seem like an attractive option for him.
Even though it's 10,000 planets. So I don't know.
We don't know how many thousand planets or how many planets. It's 600 billion subjects.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it was Trow. It was the Trow. They had 10,000 planets.
The imperfection is yours.
That was it.
On the transport pod, Dargo is back on his feet.
Yes, he's doing remarkably well now that he's been healed by the plants.
I am completely healed.
He apologizes. Did you notice that to Br'Nee for his suspicion and his bigotry toward mediciners in general? He has been betrayed before, which seems like a bit of backstory that would need some more expanding on.
I've been prejudiced in the past due to charlatans.
No offense taken.
He does actually proclaim that he is healed completely.
Yeah.
His power meter is full again or something. I don't know how that works with Luxons. They must have like one of those on-screen indicators like you have in video games that they are now at 100% health and that they can...
Now that he's taken off his green contact lenses, he can see his HUD again.
John shows up at the pod.
Yes.
And starts explaining how things actually are.
He attacks Br'Nee, holds him at gunpoint, informs the others of the unethical, inhumane actions of Br'Nee, and of course he kept it secret from them.
Yes.
He concealed this from them. He is unworthy of their trust. But they still want to leave. They want to get his star charts. So John offers to take Br'Nee back to his lab.
Yep.
And Zahn says, well, maybe it's better to have a cooler head behind the trigger.
Yes.
Which... fair, right?
True.
We know that she's kicked more ass than Chiana has sat on.
John is clearly upset at this point.
And so off they go. And now we have the final scene between Scorpius and Crais. Crais is, once again, in his quarters,
eating,
having dinner.
Yep.
Do you see the terrible cutlery that he has to work with? It looks like a bent knife that he's using to stir porridge.
I was more interested in the peacekeeper pork pie that he was having on his desk there. That looked far more interesting to me. I was hoping that we'd get a close up of that, but
I love the presentation of this meal. Like there's every dish has its own little plate. It's very discreet. It's sort of like
very Japanese.
Very Japanese. I got that as well. But black and red. You very quickly think of Chinese,
lacquer,
Japanese lacquer on a table that Scorpius walks around, casually dragging his fingers across it, pushes a button, the table lowers, and he kicks the tray aside.
Yes, Scorpius is done with playing nice. He is done with Crais.
You are unfit for duty by any measure. I personally intend to see you stripped of rank and office.
So you can take command of my carrier?
I already have.
Get off my ship!
And Crais finally snaps. He lurches at Scorpius, doing what he probably wanted to do for quite a while now. His restraint slips. He slaps him around, knocks some of his trophies off.
Fight goes back and forth a few times between the two.
Scorpius is never in trouble. You can see Scorpius looking almost bored while he's being throttled, and while he's being knocked against one wall, you see him casually flip a lever to get some other table to rise again.
Right. Although he does lose his cool.
Yes.
He very much loses his cool. He might be unfazed, but his voice changes. His eyes get even more palpitine. He goes growly and angry. And this is the first time we see him being anything but cold and calculating.
Yeah.
He is angry, or I don't know what it is that causes this, because he didn't seem to be in trouble in the fight.
Yeah, he pulls, almost effortlessly it looks like, Krace's hands off of his neck, lifts him up.
But only after he gets that angry thing.
Yeah. And then asks,
why must you force me to display my physical superiority to your kind as well?
Your kind?
Yeah, so he hasn't done this. So he's like maybe not a peacekeeper, or maybe he just works for the peacekeepers. It's very unclear what
he's
it is.
enticing, isn't he?
But yes, he puts his boot to Krace's neck, and basically Krace concedes at this point. It's like, yeah, do what you will, give your commands.
I wonder how many people who were young when this came out and who are now healthy and enthusiastic members of the BDSM community wherever they live had their awakening when Scorpius had his boot on Krace's. Yeah, Farscape has been described by some people as an American jock's descent into Australia's BDSM underworld.
Well, there's a lot of that showing here, especially with his...
John's got his leathers on again.
And Scorpius was his thong skull cap.
John arrives at the medicinal dispensary, finding that Br'Nee is injured. He's been attacked by Emily, and who took Zahn
away,
and you have to
go to the feeding ground.
Did you fall for it?
No, I was just like, why would she be interested in Zahn?
Very good.
It was just like the next.
I was completely, even this time around, I was kind of fooled by Br'Nee, because I was sort of primed for, we'll just have another reversal of sentiments. Like we're against Br'Nee now. No,
that was what they were going for. But yeah,
it's such a great fake out.
Yeah, why would they? Like, she would be more interested in eating Br'Nee, not in Zahn. It's like I caught that one.
John doesn't, because he walks all the way out to the feeding place, and then he sort of realized,
wait.
Bones. Son of a bitch.
Idiot.
I've been had.
He's so gullible. I like that about him, that he recognizes that.
We have another weird moment with Rigel being handsy again. Apparently, that he's huddled with Chiana again, and she threatens to break off that. I don't know if she says hand or whatever body part she's talking, and use it as a keychain or something if he doesn't keep it to himself.
If your hand is still there in 1 microt, I'll snap it off and use it as a good luck charm.
Aaron sets everyone straight. She says, Chiana, can you come over here for a second?
Yes.
Grabs them both by the ear, lobe, or brow. Respectively, and informs them that nobody will be talking about abandoning Moya.
We're not going anywhere with Moya. We're all staying put. We're not having any of this. It's like two squabbling kids are being hauled together, and Mum is going to set them right.
Moya will not leave here without her offspring, and he will not leave without her.
Where does that leave us?
Very close to being thrown off this command if you don't shut your whack-it hole.
I mean, they've been established as a family, and I guess I always thought of Zahn as like a den mother, but she's even sort of standing above that. Zahn is more like, I don't know, a matron of the clan. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to not ageist, although she is older than most people there.
No, except for Rigel, I think.
But she doesn't have very direct relationships with people. She tries to guide them. She doesn't do any disciplining, but Aaron does. Aaron has taken a directly maternal role here. Yeah, as you say, like the mother wolf disciplining her unruly youngsters.
Cubs, yes. Emily is now back with Dargo, and is again showing great restraint to herself. She's like used the last of her calcium to be able to present herself in her chilled out form.
Yes, because she has her predator form when she gets hungry.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why Dargo is suspicious. Like, I can see you're chilled out.
You have
you eaten?
Yes. He immediately jumps to that
smart
conclusion.
Cookie.
Yeah. She says that she spent her last of her calcium to be able to present herself like this, but it doesn't last long. Her predator form starts coming out again almost immediately.
Yeah, we're sort of worried for Dargo's safety, certainly this close to the end of the season.
Right. He does have his keyblade with him, so he's keeping it in check. She pleads with him to help her out, take her to back to my people. I will have to starve during the period, but she pretty much begs him to take her along with them.
And he offers an alternative solution, that there are creatures out there called peacekeepers.
Yeah, there's 10,000 of them, and they're going to be showing up soon, and they'll be all for you to eat.
No one will regret their passing.
Yes.
Wow, that's a harsh thing to say about, like, a civilization.
She, again, with showing great restraint, agrees to like starve in the meantime until they come, as long as she promises that they will.
You can have as many as you can lay claim to.
How do I get that?
They're coming soon. As soon as we start the engines and blast off from here.
You promised.
Thousands.
I will control my urge.
That was kind of, and now she's back to the sort of damsel in distress kind of role.
Yeah.
She is a girl. She is a young woman. She is ultimately quite trusting of him.
Yeah.
This is her good nature coming through. He could have lied to her.
Yeah, and she's clearly not the monster that Br'Nee is trying to make her out to be, because she is at all points showing restraint. She doesn't want to do this. She's just literally starving. And,
what can you do? Yep. Like the slow horror of it degrades even the most noble among us.
Yeah.
I mean, the real monster is clearly Br'Nee. Our expectations were correct.
Yeah.
As John surmises, when he can't find Zhaan, it wasn't Emily who took out Zhaan, so he's poking through the various...
Where have you her? He jumps to the conclusion that he's used his plant shrink ray on Zhaan, or at least he suspects it, until he finds the right test tube with Zhaan in it.
With Zahn's action figure. I think that was a prototype for her action figure.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
I'd like to think. I mean, I've actually never seen the action figure, so I don't know. But yes, Br'Nee is actually, Br'Nee is kind of doing a Namtar. You know, he's saying, but if we can study this subject, then imagine the medicines and, well, we know that he's a drug dealer. He is definitely...
Because he wants a Delvian. He's always wanted a Delvian ever since he heard about them, and now he has a Delvian for his collection, and he wants her in there.
Until today, I could only dream of sampling such an incredible species.
And isn't that worth a sacrifice?
Yes, well, not to her, is what John says.
He activates the beam. I like that he sort of struggles, like, come on, John, you know how to do this. Figure it out.
Okay, I can do this, Zhaan. I can do this. Damn, where's the button on this thing? I can do it.
There's a brief scuffle when the beam is activated, and Br'Nee falls through the beam.
Gets cut in half.
Whew.
Yeah.
There's a weird line here where Zhaan is restored, and John asks, what am I looking at?
Yeah.
And Zhaan says, justice.
Yes. Zhaan is quite, well, not happy with the outcome, but she's not particularly unpleased with it either.
Do you think she was conscious when she was miniaturized?
Oh, I don't think so. I mean,
right?
she goes like, I'm just a little bit woozy here.
Weird sensation.
But she's apparently clearly been kidnapped. And with Br'Nee now cut in half, things are more or less resolved on the planet, I suppose.
All done!
As they are on the command carrier,
where we see Crace sitting in his room, his lieutenant or whatever it is comes walking in, tells them that
Scorpius
has taken over, and he's just like, yeah, let him.
Yeah.
He's given up.
This was a great, it's shot from outside the room through the door, and you just see Crace sitting at his table, like he puts his head in his hands. It's a single take scene. I mean, I love the performance of the lieutenant here.
Yeah.
I await your orders, sir.
My orders?
He is quite forceful. Like David Franklin described it as, okay, he was hired to be just a peacekeeper, just like we've seen Lieutenant Teague before, Lieutenant Orn previously on the command carrier. But when he came in, he decided, I'm going to act like I'm the most important person in the room, which is kind of a bold choice for a subordinate.
Right, but he's clearly testing the waters. He's seeing, like, has the captain indeed become unfit to lead? Like, to whom do I give my loyalty now? Right, and am I going to have to decide that the captain is no longer fit to be in command and exert whatever powers that subordinates have in these circumstances?
Yep, I mean, he doesn't even need to, because Crace has just given up.
Yes, and that clearly tells him, like, okay, yep, right, we're listening to Scorpius now.
We get the final scene between John and Emily, where Emily assures him that she can hold on, but she needs to feed now.
Yeah. And they go like, well, there's Br'Nee over there.
Bones. We have bones.
It's the circle of life.
There's an interesting comment there when Emily starts snacking on Br'Nee.
Yeah,
where
John looking on in horror.
And they make a comment about there's so much cruelty in the world. And I'm just like, what do you mean? There's like, she's just eating. I mean, that's not got very little to do with cruelty.
Maybe the cruelty is like she is of an intelligent species who eats bones, right?
Yeah. How is that worse than eating flesh?
I know that we do that, right? But we have the option not to.
Right, I suppose.
We can subsist on a vegetarian or vegan diet.
I suppose
it takes some consideration.
Right. I suppose she's a pure carnivore in that regard.
Calcivore, I think, is described she's... I wonder if you just give her some chalk.
Yeah. No idea.
Well, no, they have the predator mode, so they clearly must compete for the calcium on the normal food chain. Oh, 35-minute digression? What do you think?
Yeah, make it 32.
Okay. Well, we'll time warp through that, and we're back on Moya, where everyone's pretending to be cold in the heat of the Australian summer, fuming with jealousy over Zan, who gets to wear just her nightie.
But they have the star charts, and they start making their way out of the asteroid field, I believe.
They actually stand a chance now. These charts are excellent. They have a way out.
The excellent trajectory charts you've brought back will allow us to negotiate our way out of this asteroid field.
Thank you, Pilot.
Pilot wants to convey to Erin Moya's gratitude by asking her to
name the baby.
Yeah.
Boya.
Okay, so that's already been done. Yeah.
Well,
thanks to her intervention, communication between mother and son is much better. They're understanding one another, and they would be honored if she would choose Boya's name, which will not be Boya.
She can put Leviathan Family Counseling on her resume now. Yes, that's the one. That's the last we see of them on this episode. We do see Scorpius prowling around Br'Nee's laboratory.
Yeah, he's in the herbal dispensary, and the lieutenant in his wonderful black uniform brings out, we found a survivor.
And Emily throws herself onto Scorpius with she immediately back into her damsel routine again. It's like, they killed all my friends and family. Yep. And meanwhile, she's got this, your bones smell delicious face on her.
Thank you.
That's sort of also the face that he's wearing at this point. Like, he's looking down at her.
Sure.
The face on him is so bizarre here. He's almost tender, and he says that we should also show...
We must know when to be strong and when to show compassion.
Right, and I'm wondering what's going on here, because he's shown very often to immediately know someone's nature, or at least their intentions.
Yes, the lieutenant even asks that of Crace. Is it true what they say, that he can sense your weaknesses or your intentions? So what do you think? Does he...
Ooh, I don't know. It's clearly she's not going to kill everybody, so that's not going to happen. I can't imagine what Scorpius's concept of compassion is, what he thinks of as being compassionate.
Right.
So either he's being sarcastic or he's got some weird plan already, which I think is the latter.
Words that he says is, sometimes we must give of ourselves.
Right, which, again, doesn't seem like him at all, unless he thinks ourselves is the crew. That would be the kind of thing that he would do. It's let her have some snack on some of the techs or something like that. That sounds like the kind of thing that Scorpius would be eagerly willing to sacrifice in order to have someone like Emily around.
Very good. Okay, quick note review. Yep. Did we miss anything?
So one thing that I did want to note is in the beginning we get a few lovely shots of Crace's outfit and how you can see I don't know if there's rubber parts of his breastplate or something where you can see the Peacekeeper logo laid out in. That was I thought it was a very cool bit of props or uniform or outfit, whatever you want to call it. Costume.
Yes, because it's sort of embossed on a piece of leather or plastic.
Right, yeah.
We've actually seen Erin wear it as well. It looks to be like the sort of rank patch when she was dressing up to be a peacekeeper.
Yes. That's rather inconvenient that you kind of have to lean in and sorry, why didn't you salute the general? The light was a bit dark. I couldn't see the relief on his breastplate. It seems like you want those things to be more obvious.
I think maybe the position and of course the nature of your uniform in general. We've seen very, I won't say colorful, but very diverse uniforms among the peacekeepers.
True.
Lots of splashes of red. So
yeah.
You'd probably have a better idea of someone's rank based on that, and then maybe this is sort of like the bars that commanding officers and generals wear, or maybe it's sort of like a Maori record of their accomplishments, almost as poetry, sort of like trophies.
Oh yeah, I mean they seem at least Crace is a trophy keeper, so that might be a more generic thing.
Yeah. Oh, I liked the cool little bit of sci-fi where Pilot could stay in communication with Aaron while she was on board Boya.
Ah, because they had a laser link, yeah. Which I guess they must have with Boya then.
Which requires line of sight, of course, but still.
Yeah, but it can't be intercepted either unless you're right in the middle. And they did say that they were not using their communications in order to keep their signal output low.
Yep. Oh, and we also got to see the oil cartridge from the pulse pistol.
Oh, yes, when
Br'Nee.
Just before Br'Nee gets the drop on John, and he gets the gun, and he threatens him with it, and I'm going to shoot you with it, and like, you're not without the cartridge, you're not. It's like
it's a big old cartridge, that one.
It is.
She gives me a Woody.
She gives you the willies.
She gives me a Woody.
She gives you the willies.
All right, now we're going to have a lot of options for our willies and woodies.
Oh yes, that of course.
I know. We have so many segments.
Oh dear, my Woody would definitely be towards the way they play the swinging sentiment back and forth between who is the bad guy and who is
you don't like it?
No, Woody, not Willie.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
to have that.
That was like they do it very well. They keep presenting a little bit more evidence, how each side is like trying to paint the situation in their favor, and the reactions of the crew as well. It's also very much, now we know this, and now suddenly we have to keep that in mind. And you can see, of course, the general effect of that is that their trust level for either is dropping constantly.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, this is a plot that seems designed to make use of ideally as few different locations as possible, so they can just have multiple confrontations. But there's a constant level of suspense.
Mm-hmm.
So Willie,
I wasn't really willied out at any point during the.
Even
Br'Nee, no. I mean, he was like creepy, but nothing, not specifically so. Nothing that really freaked me out or
I get that.
Worried me. It's just like, I guess he was the villain in the end. He was certainly the one with the most self-interested one, and willing to like sacrifice whatever it took for that.
Yeah, I guess he's lucky that Rigel wasn't down there. Rigel's going to get my Willie again for the same reason. Like, he's still creeping on Chiana.
That's just weird. No idea what that makes for the plot. What the purpose of that is.
And the Woody goes to Boya's, like, the interior is so glorious, like that set design.
It is gorgeous. I hope we're going to see a lot more of that. I really hope that they're going to be traipsing around with little Boya, playing around Moya, and having happy adventures in Farscape.
My lips are sealed, but you are invited to make your predictions for next episode, which is the finale
of the season. Yes. Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, my prediction is that Boya is going to get captured by the peacekeepers and taken away, and they're going to have to like go after him to rescue Boya.
Oh, poor Boya!
And that might even be the season cliffhanger. That's my prediction for next time.
Yeah. Do you want to wager anything on any of the characters?
Oh, that's always so random because it really depends on what the crisis of the week is going to be.
Yeah, that's true.
That's very hard to do. So I'm going to go with peacekeepers and specifically, of course. Scorpius are going to hatch some sort of plot which is going to lead to Boya getting captured and kidnapped.
Well, and that's the story so Farscape.
We'll see you next week with episode 122, The Betrayal, in which an unexpected betrayal has the victim scrambling for a plan of escape while a custody battle forges unlikely friendships. And thank you, Boss Stitch, for that one.
Yes, and also, very quickly, the title is actually Family Ties.
Sorry, I got that wrong.
So join us next week. In the meantime, you can find us at SoFarscape on Twitter and Facebook and on SoFarscape.com. I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay.
So Farscape, so good.